35 minutes after 7 o'clock, welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. And this morning, earlier, we were talking about how we can, make better men for our society, how we can take responsibility as men and do better generally. And this morning, we're going to continue that conversation and maybe provide some solutions. I want to welcome the CEO and founder of the Black Hawks Martial Arts family, Professor Christopher G. Francis, as well as board member, Mr. Adesh Dwarika. This morning, you guys join me as we discuss how to make better men in society in general. Good morning, gentlemen.
Hey, good morning to you.
All right, before we get into the details of it, tell me about the Black Hawks Martial Arts family. You're the CEO, you're also the founder. Why did you start this and what have you guys been doing?
Well, a pleasant morning again to you. I started Black Hawks in 1979 as a pilot project for schools.
Okay.
When I did martial arts in 1963, we had community centers and we had different places that we went to train. But then I had uncles who were educators. And back then we were looking at problems arising in schools, not like now. So we had problems in school in the 70s coming into the early 80s. So I did a pilot project in 79 and I chose like St. Augustine, Senior Comprehensive, Arima, New Government, Aruka Government Primary, Mount Hope Junior Second, 5 pilot schools to implement martial arts into schools.
Right.
Because martial arts was never into any schools in the Caribbean. They were in various community centers and so on. And after that pilot project, it was successful. I decided to launch the program for schools. So when you say Black Hawks is a parent body of martial arts for academic schools.
Okay.
And the success rate of Black Hawks in that students who train with Black Hawks would be responsible to give me end of term results from school. You can't get promotion except you would have been holistically balanced.
Right.
Your parents would talk about how you make up your bed at home and how you would have done with the chores, and because we were always creating a better person for society.
Now, it's interesting to hear you say that because for me, when I hear martial arts, I think fighting.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I think of.
Yeah.
But it seems as though martial arts has a more important role in society than just learning how to defend or attack.
If you would have trained with the teachers I would have actually learned from international, Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, Cynthia Rothrock, Silver Fox, all those guys came from the same background with teachers where I was privileged. So I didn't have a local martial arts instructor per se. I would have had one, but then apart from that, I would have trained internationally in Korea, Japan, China, and those places. So I took the philosophy of martial arts and brought it to Trinidad. And utilizing that kind of discipline, that holistic balance. And then I came from a family of educators. So listening to my uncles and them at the university and at schools and colleges and so on, and watching what they did, I took a marriage from my martial arts, and I took a marriage from the psychological areas of my uncle who were psychologists and so on, and I made a marriage of that to bring out the best in the human being who comes our way.
Of course. Now, Mr. Dwarika, as a member of the board, how have you seen the philosophies of Black Hawks being implemented onto the students, the ones who are learning martial arts?
Well, that's a fantastic question because I'm an educator.
Right.
And I've been an educator for the last 30 years.
Nice.
So what is happening is that I am seeing the issues coming out from the youth level, right? So the issues with young men, the issues with young women, the relationships that they have, the role models that they have, and the problems that they have coming out into society. So the Black Hawks management has given me that opportunity to work with these, knowing the problems and the issues that they have, to work with the Black Hawks management to create programs that will assist these young people in becoming better members in society.
Right.
And that is what we're all about.
And as we in the vacation period for the students, we have this program, A Better Man. I know you guys also have an Easter camp, but before we get to the Easter camp, I'm curious about the Better Man.
Wow,
because
you're very educated.
I try to be at least a little bit informed, But tell me about how we're going to reshape adult males using this Better Man program. Let's start with you, Mr. Dwarika.
Right. One of the things that Professor just didn't mention in terms of martial arts is that it's all about discipline.
Right.
Right. So in terms of entering the martial arts, that discipline, we are hoping to take that discipline into the arena of life, into the arena of society. And this is what the Better Man program is about. Like, for example, one of the major topical issues right now is what happened at the Oscars.
That's one of the topics. We're also talking about the man who killed his wife and himself.
So we had an educator who would have committed, a very heinous crime in front of his kids and whatnot. So we want to empower the young men. We want them to make better choices. We want them to have self-worth so that they are motivated to do right things. They are motivated to do or to make better choices in life, so that we don't end up in situations like this.
Now, these workshops, they begin tomorrow, the 5th of April, but they're happening online via Zoom.
Yes, Zoom.
I'm interested to know how difficult or how challenging would it be to be able to instill this level of discipline and that kind of thing via Zoom?
Okay. We just completed from October last year to December, ran a program for women, strictly. And your station were very blessed to have a nice young lady from your station came to interview and stuff like that. We would have impacted close to about 4,000 women, but we started just Trinidad.
Right.
It went from Trinidad and Tobago, and it went Trinidad Caribbean. And then we found out that it was people from United States, England, Switzerland. Like when we ran our program, and our program started at 6 o'clock. It was 1:30 in the morning in Switzerland.
Yeah.
But women were still involved in our program.
You expect the same response from men?
I think a better response from men. Because at the end of our program, women talked about how their life have been changed. The power that we have given them to take back what they have dropped or never knew that they had. And also, their self-confidence and self-worth has heightened.
Yeah.
And that is what we are trying to do with the men. Now, men have two problems that you know. Men, the predator, and there are a lot of men who are victims.
Yeah.
So how do we do our program to work online to help our men? So that's why our program is absolutely free. Because if you put a costing on that, you would not be able to get the entire package of the men coming, what attracted them to come. So you bring them into the fold, and then you look for people that they respect, they know, and they have some trust.
Yeah.
So when you looked at the presenters that we have, it gives the society an opportunity to say, I know that person, I trust that person, I could work with that person. That person has been in the vineyard for a long period of time. And because of that, you've been able to reach those young men. I've reached out to support services, I've reached out to homes and the prisons and everywhere else, because the program covers men, regardless where they are. Whatever
their station in life, the program covers them.
Men and young men, because I'm looking from like 12 years and up,
right?
Because they are at school, and as I said, I'm in school. We have angry young people at school with problems and challenges. How do we work with them?
And Mr. Dorka, how can men be a part of it? How can they find out more information? How can they log on?
Right, so we have the Blackhawks website that they can log on to the website and register for the program. And of course, we are on Facebook, we have our own website. So the men can just search for the Blackhawks Management, Martial Arts Management, and they can log on there and be part of the program.
All right, now before we wrap up, tell me about the Easter camp that's happening from today. Yeah, tell me about that Easter camp.
Well, it's a form of venting, because we have a lot of... I started looking at some of the comments students was making on their, how you call that? Their
on Instagram.
The timeline.
And the timeline and stuff. And you saw that some with the chat would have been some suicide intent or some kind of stuff. So we started to look closely at that. And that brought me to that Zoom program that we ran right through the period that we were in lockdown. So we would not have allowed our students, with all the work being done, fall apart. This Easter camp starting today is to work with young people to bring that self-confidence, self-worth. When school reopening back in April, students who are going to our program would go more assured, more assertive, more disciplined, more understanding of what their roles and functions are at school and how we take up the pieces and go with it.
All right, and how can people become a part of this? Same head across to the website, same
yes,
information?
you go across to the website, blackhawksmartialarts.com, or you call 350-8784, and we love to have you.
350-8784.
Yes.
All right, so that's the Blackhawks Martial Arts family. Guys doing fantastic work. Congratulations. Please keep it up. It's definitely something that we need more of.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you both for joining me this morning, Mr. Adish Dwarka, member of the board, as well as Professor Christopher G. Francis, who's the CEO and founder of the Blackhawks Martial Arts family. Don't forget the head across to their website. You can just search them on Google, Blackhawks Martial Arts. They have an Easter camp. They have the Better Man program that's happening as well. And I encourage you to please try and be a part of, if not one, both of them. Yeah? We take a quick break and we come back with more Inside the Now Morning Show. Stick around.